What's up guys, it's the Muerte Blanca and we got another virtual on build for you all. This time we're going to be discussing the big boy himself, Dorkas. As you'd expect for most tank characters, it has a little bit more health, a lot more attack power, however you're sacrificing speed as well as agility. For those of you that may not remember, Dorkas had a handful of weapons. The first off would be his hammer, where he threw this giant ball with spikes at his enemy. The phalanx, which is a series of rockets that would literally light up the entire battlefield, and his basic fireball attack. As always guys, if you want to check out this build for yourself, the code is in the description. And before we get into the build, I have a confession. I'm an idiot, and as soon as I finished this build, thank goodness I uploaded it, because I uploaded it and you have access to it and it looks exactly how it's supposed to look when you go into the PvPs or the missions and you want to play this build. It will see exactly as you're seeing now. However, as I mentioned before, I am an idiot because as soon as I finished this build, accidentally saved over it. So as I mentioned before, if you go into the downloads you want to download, you put in the code, it will show up exactly as you see here. But as we go over all of the parts, unfortunately, it's gonna look like this. So again, as I mentioned before, if you want to play with it, do your thing. The look and feel, everything is there. I just have to go over it the way I have to here because, again, I'm stupid and I accidentally saved over it because I started working on the next build and accidentally erased over Dorkas. So yeah, going into the build, there wasn't a great weapon available that had the look and the feel of his fireball, so we went to the next closest thing with the flamethrower, the WB-Quad O Bad Cook. And this is the flamethrower, great for building that flame status effect, but there is a distance requirement to it and you really got to get close in on your opponent. Because he has a hammer, I thought it would be appropriate if we had the hammer. So doesn't reach as far as the hammer in Virtual On, but great weapon for doing a lot of damage, a lot of impact. This is going to be your main damage dealer. And then in order to replicate the phalanx as close as possible, I went with dual P07 VTC-12 vertical missile launchers. So just like the phalanx rains missiles on the enemy, so does the vertical missile launcher. As far as the frame is concerned, all of these are inspired by what would closely most resemble Dorkas. Again, paint job will show up when you download it and play it for yourself. I apologize for being stupid. So we went with the HS5000 appetizer as the head. Felt like that was pretty close in terms of the real Dorkas. The Melander body and the arms of the Ting Chang, hope I said that correctly, just those big bulky arms that you'd expect from a tank like Dorkas, and then the bulky legs for the 2S-5000 dessert. And then the inner workings of this build, we have the Berzel 21D. Our options were very limited when it came to the booster for this build because we weigh over 96,000 and we had to find something that could accommodate that. So that's why we have that. For our FCS, we are focusing primarily on missile lock just so we can get those missiles out as much as possible. The flamethrower targeting really isn't as important. And then of course with the hammer, you're gonna be right there in their face throwing that out. So again, the assist not nearly as important. And then for the generator, we went the VP20D because we needed that extra energy capacity compared to what we normally do, which is the 20C. When it comes to the strategy of this particular build, I'm gonna be completely honest. This build in PvP is not the greatest, and you might see that when you watch the PvP gameplay because it's very limited in what it can do and has a lot of disadvantages. If you're going against a speedy AC that you can't catch, it's going to be tough. If you're going against something that has long range weaponry or it can fly like any quad, it's going to be tough. Basically what you need to do as Dorkas is throw out the vertical missiles simultaneously if you want to do damage, or one after the other to get them boosting around and get your opponent to use some of that boost. And then you have to rush in with the flamethrower. Hammer is really going to be where the majority of your damage comes in, or you can boost in for the kick in order to get some damage and some good impact. So not my favorite build in terms of PvP, but again, it was fun to mess with and play with, and I think the paint job looks really great, which is why I'm super sad that I am dumb. So thankfully I've not done this yet, knock on wood, for any of my other builds. And again, I have to keep mentioning this, and I'm sorry if I sound like a broken record. If you download the code, it will look exactly as you see here. So appreciate you guys dealing with my nonsense. As always, if you enjoy any of these builds, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe. I really want to do the rest of the virtual on roster. We have done a number of builds already, so make sure you check the channel out for those. I hope you enjoy these builds as much as I do, and I hope you enjoy this PvP gameplay. I'm La Muerte Blanca, and I'll catch you guys next time.